You were 14 years old. Elvis was 24, right?
Mm-hmm.
How did your parents allow a 14-year-old teenager baby to be with this then superstar of...
It was not easy on my parents. You know, first of all, it was just an innocent meeting. And of course, you know, I was excited and I was reluctant because I didn't think they'd ever let me go. But it was just a one-time opportunity. That's all they thought it would be. I never expected him to ask me back. They never expected him to ask me back.
But Elvis did ask you back, and you saw him again and again. And you would get home very late at night and be exhausted the next day when you had to go to school. Mm-hmm. And your parents let you go again and again.
You know, when you're in love, it's hard to fight. And I was rebellious somewhat, meaning I didn't want to go to school, or I said I wouldn't go to school. Please let me, you know, he'd be out of my life after 6 months, and, you know, don't ruin my life, because I really cared. And he came to the house and he was charming. He was wonderful, and my family had a lot of faith in him.
What was Elvis Presley like then?
He was insecure. He was, you could talk to him as a person. You knew who he was. You knew his fears. He had, he was so vulnerable. He was gentle. He was fun. He was a person you could really deal with.
Were you mad about him?
Mm-hmm. I was, but our relationship was very different. It was a very protective relationship from the very beginning. I don't know what it was about him, but he kind of took me under his arm and nourished me in many ways.
You write in your book, you're 14, Elvis would take me into his bedroom, and then we would kiss long, deep, passionate kisses, and his caresses would leave me weak with desire.
Yes, it's true.
Yet he never tried to go further than kissing you.
No. No, he didn't. There was an agreement, I guess, he made with himself that the woman that he decided to take for his wife, he was going to keep her that way until he married her.
Keep her a virgin no matter what.
Right.
Even then, in Germany, when you had trouble getting up for classes, Elvis gave you Dexedrine. Mm-hmm. First time you'd seen pills.
I didn't know what was going on as far as, you know, pills or what they were, sleeping pills. I mean, he gave them to me to be helpful, to say, look, if it's really getting really bad and you're not doing well, you know, take a couple of these. But he was very cautious about them, and he said, don't take them a lot, and just take them if you really need them.
What do you think attracted a 24-year-old star to a 14-year-old inexperienced? Or am I telling you just as I say that? Is that what attracted him to you?
The inexperience, yes. I think Elvis had been around Hollywood already. He had already seen Hollywood, quote-unquote, starlets. So I think in his own mind, he thought, well, I'll just be with someone and teach her as it comes. And I don't think a lot of older women would have put up with a lot of the things that went on. I mean, you know, because when you're young, you kind of I listened to him and did what he said. What woman around his age, let's say 24 or 25, would want to go out with a lot of guys when they went out?
He was almost always with an entourage.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Elvis went back to America, was released from the service. You stayed in Germany. When you were 15, he says, come live with me in Memphis. And your parents said, okay.
In my parents' defense, they were going through it. They were having a hard time with this, but I was in love. And they were caught between, well, if we don't let her go, you know, she'll sneak off and do it, or she'll catch a plane and go. My mother would cry and go, I don't know what to do. You know, and I feel badly because I did go through a lot.
When she came in, and I said, Elvis, this is Priscilla, this is Elvis. And I said, I had these visions of all of us just going to prison for life. I was scared to death. She wasn't even 14 yet.
Elvis lived with young teenage Priscilla in fornication for nearly 5 years until he was pressured for the sake of his public image to marry her. Elvis's marriage, however, never changed who he really was as he turned from fornicator to adulterer.
Let's face it, from the time Elvis became famous until the very end, he never at any point stopped seeing other women. including with Priscilla.
Exactly.
It never stopped.
He was having her around when he wanted her around, see?
Elvis used Jesus Christ's name as a cover and actually was so promiscuous that he participated in orgies, sleeping with several women at a time.
You know the girl I was with last night? That dog? Oh, man, I'm going to tell you. You could have raised the bed, boy.
Regarding Elvis's gospel music,